Hello, I hear you.
Is it doing it?
Yeah, now you sound good now. You sound perfect now.
All right. Well, now, thank you guys for tuning into the live stream. This is the Tinted Podcast. I am Tyler Layfield, joined by my co-host Torrez Finney. How are you, Torrez?
What's up, Tyler? What's going on, baby?
Not much. Yeah. What about your camera?
You see me?
Uh,
You don't see me.
no, I don't know
Wow,
why,
I see,
but
I see myself so clear right now. I don't know
we'll go without it. We'll keep going without it.
because I see
So
you
yeah,
really well.
yeah. Let me see if it's on the live stream. Let's see here. No, it's not popping up on the live stream.
See, that's the thing. I probably join this. Okay, can I join? Could I leave and come back? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, do that. Try that.
Do that. There
There
we
he
go.
is.
So when you do the stream, I see you can't join. You can't do your camera during the stream. You have to do it
After.
before.
Ah.
Hmm.
Mm. All right, we'll restart it up. Thank you guys for tuning into the TNT podcast. I'm Tyler Layfield, joined by my co-host Torrez Finney. Torrez, how's it going, bro?
What's going on, Tyler, man? Hey, another day, another dollar, man. Just been training, so feeling good, baby. Hi, what's up?
Yeah.
What you been up to?
No, that was a good time spending with you. This past weekend we were able to hang out a good bit, watch some football, Jones County versus Northside,
Yeah,
and Mary Persons Northeast. So it was fun hanging out with you and the grandpa and Jacob. We ran into a good friend of the show, Jacob Walden, and had some students out there doing some stuff. So it was fun. This week's been a little stressy-ish so far, but it's at work. But man, it's been pretty good still, so I can't complain.
yeah, man. I exactly know how you it is, man. Like I get so busy. I am literally like jam packed with something all the time, and I'll be
Yeah,
forgetting. I even have it in my calendar, and I'll be forgetting
same.
because I have to sometimes I have to set times for my naps. Like I have to I have to take some naps sometimes.
For real.
I be tired, boy. But man, yeah, we running, baby. We running.
Yeah, about to say I saw where you went to a movie. What was it last night?
Yeah, when I saw Blue Beetle last night. When I saw Blue Beetle last night, for our other.
What is that about?
So Blue Beetle is a superhero movie. It's a
Oh,
DC superhero. I've always known about Blue Beetle. He's been a part of the Young Titans, the Young Justice League, the Teen Titans. He's been a part of a lot of those uh, younger, up and coming superheroes.
hmm.
His comics started. I don't know. He been in the comics for a little bit, not as long as obviously as the other cats, but he had his few as his comics. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
about Beetle. It's a mantle that it's basically a beetle, and it's blue, and and it gets a part of a host that it selects, and it selected one of these guys, and once it selects it, um, that person becomes a superhero. So it was a good movie. I gave it like a seven. It
Like,
was good flick. I love George Lopez. He really played his part good in that, but overall, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't nothing like, oh my gosh, you have to go see it, but it was okay. It's
hmm.
watchable. It's watchable.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, man, I told you at the game, and Dad asked me afterwards. Oh yeah, what did Torres have to say about the opponent? I was like, we went the whole entire show. We didn't talk about your upcoming opponent. We did end up finding that news after I had or after we had said, oh yeah, you'll be doing some stuff, later this week. Torres is in fact he's going to be fighting for a UFC contract in October. I don't know how he went the whole podcast last time. Torres, you should have jumped in and said it, bro. But yeah, he's going to be doing that, and October
10th,
10th, right?
October 10th.
10th, and you will be facing Yuri, and what's his last name? I can't
And
even. I know
Farov.
it's Yuri.
And Farov.
And Farab. All right. So, Dad always asks it. You and I, we already kind of chit chatted about it, but for the people out there listening, give us a little bit of a take of what you kind of see in your upcoming opponent.
So Yuri Farah, he's Russian. He moved over to the States when he was like 14. He trains at Ultimate BJJ or Ultimate MMA and BJJ in Connecticut. He's 6-0 as well. He was also undefeated as an amateur as well. Um, has a small background. Has a small background in boxing. Has a little bit of a background in BJJ as well. He's a brown belt in BJJ. Done a lot of BJJ competitions. Um, he brings. He's going to have a little bit of grappling coming into the game. Um, he's solid. I think he's solid, but I just think what I bring to the table, man, is just going to be a lot different than what he's ever seen. I've looked at a
Yeah,
lot of his opponents, and a lot of his opponents, I don't feel like it's up to the test of what I face. I felt like I faced a lot of harder opponents, both amateur and pro, and I think it has allowed me to be able to set myself up for this type of situation. And I think a lot of people don't actually recognize sometimes where you get pushed in other categories in an actual fight. It sets you up for these type of moments to, if when the lights are bright, what you're gonna do when you get pushed. What you're gonna do when somebody's coming at you. And I don't think he's seen that yet. We don't know how he's gonna react. He might react totally different. But upon from watching, I have a figure out how he's gonna react once he starts seeing that pressure. And I'm not a guy that backs up, and I'm not a guy that leads off my pressure. So um, we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm really confident about the matchup. I'm excited for the opportunity to get an opportunity, to fight. And like what's crazy is, our fight is the main event. We're the main event of the
wow.
last show in Vegas, October
So
10th.
that's the last of the contender series.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh wow.
It'll be
Okay.
the last ever fight for this entire season of the Contender Series, season 7. We're the main event, we're the feature fight. So they
Wow.
flying us down there to do the promo video for the feature fight. So when you're the main event, so it's a pretty cool experience, man. It's really awesome, to be in this spotlight and two 6-0 guys have an opportunity and
Yeah.
man, it's gonna be cast off to the world. Like I said, man, this is an opportunity for everybody. It's no longer just the county.
Regional thing. This is a international type deal,
This is
man.
the world now. Yeah, the world gets to finally see Torrez Finney. So
That'd be
I'm
awesome.
excited for the opportunity, and I'm excited for everybody to get a chance to see what the Punisher is going to be bringing. And I'm confident I will have that UFC contract after October 10th. I'm confident in
Oh
that.
yeah, man. For sure, for sure. So you guys are going to be the main event. How many fights? I've yet to watch a a contender series, card before. How many fights are on a card like these?
Um, 5. There's only 5 fights. They're
Okay,
quick.
only 5 fights, and you're the fifth
Start at
one.
8 o'clock. Yeah, most
All
time
right.
they be done by 9:30 to 10. It's quick.
Oh, nice little weekday thing. Get to sleep still early. All right. So you said y'all are both undefeated. You said 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
His and that's. I wonder how many. Do you know how many fights he's had as an amateur?
Yes, he had 5, I believe. Yeah, 5.
Five.
Mm-hmm.
Five as an amateur, six as a pro. And I know we talked about it, you and I at the game. All first round finish and by submission, right?
Yeah, all by submission. Mm-hmm.
Interesting
All
stuff.
6 of his. Yeah, he has all first round finishes, all by submission. Most of them rear naked chokes. He got an arm bar, but most of them are rear naked chokes. Yeah, basically all of them.
Mm-hmm. It's like a go-to for a lot of folks. I feel like it's like an easier one, right?
Yeah, it's easy when
Um,
you don't know how to defend it. So
yeah, yeah,
it's easy when you don't know how to defend it.
yeah. And you go, and if you guys want to, you can go and do a little bit of scouting yourself. You can go on YouTube immediately. When I found out the opponent, I went and looked up some of his recent fights and saw some stuff. He is like a fan favorite, but Torres and I talked, and at these kinds of things, there's not a lot of seats available. So, and neither of them, I think, where does he fight out of technically? In the United States, you're out of Tennessee. Where's he out of?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. So this both of you guys are going to be out of your regions, your areas. So not going to be anything of like a home crowd advantage to any degree here. But that is one thing I've noticed. He's a crowd pleaser. He's a guy like when you're coming in, he's got this. If y'all ought to look it up, but he's got like a polar bear type thing on coming into the arena, and they're all chanting Yuri, Yuri and stuff. So he has that crowd factor to him, just like Torres does. So I think that's one thing that has kind of got him up to this point. So it'll be interesting seeing him go against you in this one. So, man, pretty awesome stuff. Anything else you want to bring up when it comes to this fight?
No, not really, man. It's just, I mean, it is what it is. Y'all just got to tune in for yourselves to see it. You know, I'm not, like I always say, I don't make predictions. You know, the only thing I say is I'm going to have my hand raised at the end of that night, and I will have that contract. So, however the fight finished, wherever shows up first is how I'm going to get it done. I am going in there to finish to get the job done, but I am excited for the opportunity. I really am, and yeah, man. Like I said, main event. You know, we're the feature fight, last fight for the entire season on the Contender Series. So it'll be something to definitely watch and be mindful of. And looking at that whole card, I mean, I think we're probably like the most looked at. Obviously, there's a reason why we're the main event, but like, yeah, like that whole card ain't. You got a 125 weight. You got 170. I think you got a 55 and a 45 or so. You might have some crazy things happen, you know, especially with those weight classes. But when you got two guys fighting on Contender Series, everybody's there to try to impress Dana, and everybody's there to try to get that contract. So, um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it is fire. The nights, the fights be crazy. If anybody, I don't know if anybody ever saw. Do you remember watching Trevor Peaks fight on the Contender Series?
The last one, or no,
No,
I've never seen it. I didn't watch that one live. I remember watching the highlights immediately after though. And then they said that was a pretty awesome fight, and I was able to watch, the tail end of it, whatever, UFC had shared up to that point on Twitter is what I was able to see.
okay, yeah. So that's very similar a little bit. That's it's nuts. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited, man. You know, so yeah, so I already said this, man. Yuri had his opportunity to please Dana when Dana came to Boston to watch them fight.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, Massachusetts. He was on the
Dana
Dana.
White looking for a fight.
Yep, Dana White went there. Uh, he was one of the guys. He was there going to see him in the main event, and he didn't please. You know, that was your opportunity, man. And you know, obviously he's getting a second chance to do that, and I think now uh, I'm going to take advantage of my opportunity. You know, you don't
Yes.
get two chances to please. Now it's my time. You had your time. Now it's my time. Because most of the time on that Dana White looking for a fight, Dana White looks to go and give the contract. He looks to give the automatic UFC contract. He don't usually gives White Contender Series, Contender Series contracts at those shows.
Mm-hmm.
He gives the actual contract.
Straight up contract.
You're
Wow.
you're you're in please. So he's giving Yuri a second chance, but no, this won't be a second chance. This will be my opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah. So I saw that you were streaming live Saturday night for the UFC card this past weekend. I'm about to go grab my computer charger real quick. Go into this card a little bit. I'm about to join you back, and I got a couple questions for you. It'll be just a second. So go ahead and start breaking down this card real
Oh,
quick.
no problem. So look, we just had UFC 292. Oh, funny. In Boston, Massachusetts. So that was actually a really good card for everybody that tuned in. You know, you had opportunity to see a lot of different guys on that card. Ian Gary versus Neil Magny, which ended in the decision, which was a phenomenal performance by Ian Gary. Obviously, not too fan favorite on the back end on how he acted and how he, reacted to the after the fact of getting the win. But hey, he had a really solid performance. Wei Lee, man. Zhang Wei Lee. I mean, oh my gosh. She absolutely destroyed Amanda Lemus. I mean, it was a massacre. It was a massacre. I mean, I think
Which
the
one was this?
stats, Wei Lee, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I heard she just dominated the whole entire time.
let me go see the stats real quick. Let me see. I'm about to
It
go
was
back to
just
the stats.
she didn't finish it right, but she pretty much just from start to finish just went to town.
She landed 296 strikes to Amanda Lemus 29.
Mm.
Bro, 6 takedowns to 0. I mean, oh my God, bro. You talk about a massacre. That's not even. I don't. That's like you hitting pads. That's not even like. Oh my gosh, 296 to 29. That is absurd. Whaley Whaley just, oh my gosh, Whaley Zhang. I mean, she just killed that girl. I don't even have anything else to say. I knew the stats were bad because we saw it on the TV, but seeing it, it was even worse. Like that's just bad. Y'all, that is awful. I mean, but then again, it just showed you how good Whaley Zhang is. You know, you look at her. And you see like what she brings to the table. She's the best in her weight class, and some think she might be the best, since especially with Amanda Nunes retiring, she might be the best women's fighter on the planet right now. And she showed that in that fight. She didn't even went even close. And then we get to the main event with Aljamain Sterling, the champion, versus Sean O'Malley.
I did watch this fight, by the way.
And man, what an upset! You know, I think a lot of people thought Aljamain was going to go in there and get the takedown and get on top, look for submissions. But I will say props to Sean O'Malley being really good at keeping his distance, staying long with his jab, staying long on Aljamain. What I wasn't impressed with on Aljamain was he shot a lot of naked shots, not a lot of things set up. His setups to his takedowns just wasn't good to me. But congratulations to Sean O'Malley. He looked really good. And that counter, man, that step back right, you can literally see Aljamain see the punch as he's trying to turn on. He can see the punch coming. Man, it landed right down the button. And that was the best chance for Sean to win. Everybody was like, it's not like Aljamain has the best chin in the world. He's gotten dropped before. Heck, he got dropped when he fought Peter Yan. Before the disqualification, he got dropped a few times.
Yeah, he did.
So like he's been dropped. When he got knocked out, he got dropped. He's been dropped a lot. So, but he's really good at recovering because of how good his jiu-jitsu is. Very Charles Oliveira-esque, but just not like Charles. See, Charles more deadly on the ground. But but Aljamain is so deadly on the ground, people are scared to go down there with him. But really good job by Sean O'Malley being aggressive with the ground and pound. Once he saw him hurt, he started
going to town.
They go into town, yeah. And, some people thought it was an early stoppage. You could say that, but when your eyes start rolling, man, you got to remember the referee is literally standing right there. You can't go back what you see on TV. The referee is standing right there. And the moment your eyes go, that's it. That's it.
Cut it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was just popping him, man. Louis done said one comment. I'll read that here to you in a second. But he was telling me because it was at the Boston Garden, he said instead of bouncing Spalding basketballs, they were bouncing Sterling heads at the at the Boston Garden. So he was saying just the way his head was going off the canvas. So yeah. So that was Louis' take on it. Yeah, O'Malley. It was a fun fight. I did watch that. For the time that it lasted, it wasn't a real long fight, obviously. But a lot of people kind of questioned Aljamain even when he got the belt, right? With the Peter Yan disqualification, and he's had to try to kind of back up that legitimacy to it. And O'Malley's always been a guy, we've talked about him, since we've been doing this. I mean, you even before that, because you kept up with it before the show even began. But O'Malley's always been a guy, a crowd favorite. Everybody likes watching this guy fight. He's fun. Shoot, I like watching him fight. So it was cool to see him get a big win for once. I think how many fights ago was it where he hurt his leg like really early? You remember what I'm talking about?
About 5 fights ago.
Five fights ago? Yeah, I remember that. And I hated it because, I was starting to ride that.
Cheeto Vera. When it was actually, it was in 2020 when we were doing the show, and Jordan had made a prediction because I didn't think Sean was going to Vera at that time. And Jordan was correct on that. He got that prediction.
Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, it was Cheeto Vera. But now it looked like Cheeto, we could be seeing a rematch because he fought on that card as well. And he beat Pedro Munoz in that fight.
Yeah, man, I miss those. We have to get some fight podcasts going back again and some.
Yeah, we do for sure, man.
We're already talking with Kobe and Jackson about doing a little, collaboration with them in the goal line stand, doing some college football playoff predictions and whatnot for the year Heisman stuff. Maybe potentially doing that Sunday. I'm hoping we can maybe make that happen. I'm going to see if I can get freed up. I know you said so. Hopefully that's something we could do. The other thing that Louis mentioned in the comments, he said that Ian Gary is a bad boy. He loves Ian Gary. He said he just went to work this past Saturday night. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, Ian Gary looked really good against Neil Magny. He destroyed Neil Magny. Fight wasn't even close. But my one of my things about with Ian Gary is his finishing. He don't finish fights, and I think that's going to come back to haunt him if he don't continue to learn how to do that. The longer you keep a wounded animal in the fight, they're fighting for their lives. They always got a shot. You
Mm.
have to finish fights if you have the opportunity, and he had an opportunity. He had Neil Magny hurt multiple times, and he did not go for the finish. And you can say, "Oh, he was trying. He was trying to be safe." No, uh,
Hmm.
he wasn't. I don't think he saw him hurt and was like, "Well, I can just keep doing this all day." Well, sometimes doing it all day isn't what's going to cut it. Sometimes because, as we've seen on multiple occasions, Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prozakas, Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards. How many fights do we keep naming? Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva, leaving guys out there when they've been dominating the whole fight, and it comes down to the last round, and boom, you get caught with something. You don't want to take that chance, Ian Gary. I wanted to see him finish more, but yeah, he looked phenomenal. He did look good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing we were going to bring up today that we're going to discuss, because ironically, it's not a whole lot to discuss, just because this is, during the season, Torres and I, we're going to be doing college football predictions, NFL predictions throughout the week. We'll pick at least a handful of games from each one that we deem as great games, and we'll make our picks from there. Even talk about the spread and whatnot. So we actually have some games this Saturday. Nothing earth shattering, nothing crazy groundbreaking to it. Um, Football being football, we can still kind of talk about it a little bit. We also have some, college football starting, with week one, because this is technically week zero. Week one is starting next Thursday with a game we'll get into here in a minute. So we're going to talk about some games. Torres, you can bring up your list if you want to. Um, Talk about some games that we see as maybe being some good ones. There's not a ton, but maybe even begin to talk about what some games that we really want to watch just to see what this specific team looks like. Maybe there's some teams that we just want to like, hey, I'm going to be watching this one because I want to see blank.
Are we talking about
So
week one or just the whole season?
let's look at week one. Yeah, let's
Okay,
look at week one just to get that preface because I mean, really, week to week we're going to be able to cover those, I guess. And to be honest with you, there's some games that we could look at now into the season that may not mean as much later on because there might be like a new team like a TCU of last year that'll
yeah,
pop
right.
on the scene that make things even crazier. So yeah, just out of week zero, week one, we can highlight some. I'll bring up the first one, and I'll let you bring up the one from there. Next Thursday, we got Florida going to Utah, number 14 Utah. That'll be at 8 o'clock. ESPN. Utah is a 4.5 point favorite. The reason I'm looking at this, um, I've already said my thoughts on Florida. We've come out. I think they're going to be, um, bottom of the SEC. I really do. I think they're going to be, down there, bottom feeders this year. I don't see them being a great team. This will be a little bit of a revenge game, rematch type thing from last year. If you remember week one last year, this game in Gainesville, Florida ended up pulling this out. It was a big win, big upset for them. Everybody thought, whoa, Anthony Richardson, Heisman. Florida's going to make a run, and it was nothing but a steady fall from there for Florida. Utah was able to win some pretty decent games throughout the year. Obviously, not enough to make college football playoff. But their team, they're bringing back their quarterback, Cameron Rising. They got some other decent pieces on the team. It's a well made team, honestly. Like it's a well built team that they've been able to establish over the years. With decent defense, for a Pac-12 team, and then with a decent enough offense to back it up as well. So. Obviously Dalton Kincaid leaving for the NFL. He's with the Buffalo Bills now, but they're supposed to have a pretty good tight end behind him. Keith, I think is his last name. So it'll be interesting to me, number one, just seeing what Florida looks like. Are they going to be the team that I am kind of pegging them to be? And then number two, seeing what Utah can do, in this, playing at home now. Can they come out, make a statement, win early in the season to maybe do something this year in the Pac-12? That's going to be mine. I'll take Utah to cover that 4.5. By the way, what about you? What do you think with that?
I mean, we both made that same prediction a few weeks ago when we did the SEC East, and we both, we weren't too high on Florida going into the season, but that is to watch. We do know that first game of the season, stuff gets wild. I expect that game to actually be close, but I do expect Utah to cover. I do think Utah gets that game,
Yeah,
especially how close they was able to play it last year in Gainesville, and I don't think really Florida has exponentially gotten that much better than last year compared to Utah. So I really do like that game. I expect that game to be a really good one. It's only one on the night, so definitely
yeah,
gonna be tuning in. So most of the time I'll be sitting here trying to look for something on TV to watch. After I watch film, I watch a lot of film on my guide. But after I watch film, I'll be like, man, where's on TV to watch? And after that,
mhm.
is it's nothing but like, hey, TV shows here and there. So definitely got some football to show up, and I'm excited for next Thursday. I mean, we got football this weekend, but I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you, I
yeah,
really don't care too much for a Navy Notre Dame. Even though I think a Navy team, you don't sleep on them, especially against
yeah.
the
You
Notre
don't
Dame.
ever sleep on 'em.
But I think Notre Dame will win that, and then you got USC and San Jose State. So
Yeah,
that's only
I
an
mean, you could say you want to see. I mean, just those will be games you can tune into to see. How does Sam Hartman look as starter for Notre Dame now? What does Notre Dame look like with him at quarterback now? I mean, he is a solid freaking quarterback. He'll be pretty good. And then, what's the head coach name for Notre Dame? Marcus. I'm talking about. What's
You're
his
talking
name?
about Marcus. I can't think his last name right now.
Yeah, but seeing how he's built the team up, it'll be pretty good. And then USC, looking to see what USC's kind of looking like. Another year of Caleb Williams. Bringing
Marcus
in.
Freeman.
Say that again.
Marcus Freeman.
That's it, Marcus Freeman. And then USC, with the additions they've been able to make in the offseason, both through the transfer portal and through the recruiting class, it'll be just interesting to see what they look like. But neither team. Obviously, am I going to doubt? I'm not going to get doubt either one of those teams. Notre Dame and USC in these respective matchups. So, what's a week one matchup you're going to be looking at?
Well, obviously, like we said, we got Florida, Utah, but another week one match I'm looking forward to is let me
Not a
see.
ton to choose from, but there's a couple in here.
It is. I got to get to the down. See, I'm on the whole FBS schedule, so like I'm looking at all the FBS teams. So there's a few teams on here
Yeah,
unranked.
the
Probably
top
some.
25.
I mean, obviously, you got the North Carolina South Carolina game, the Duke's Mayo
Yeah,
Classic. That's a
talk
fun
about
game
that.
to watch. Obviously, we. I think I'm a little bit on South Carolina, but I do think South Carolina potentially could be third. They could finish third in the East, and they got a really good game against North Carolina, who's ranked number 21, and I see
Hmm.
North Carolina as the favorite in this matchup, minus 2.5. And I think that game gonna be close. I think that game is gonna be close. Having Spencer Rattler coming back, a lot of people, was big into Beamer as the head coach, and I think the way the South Carolina ended the season last year, man. Let's see if they're going to keep that stuff rolling because actually North Carolina ended the season pretty bad last year. They lost the last 4 games. They lost to Georgia Tech 4-4. North Carolina State in double overtime lost to Clemson. Then lost to Oregon in the bowl game. So they did not finish the season how they wanted to finish it. But most of the time, you can't have a lot of things carry on to the next following season unless you have those same players, which I think South Carolina does. So South Carolina do have those guys coming back. I like Beamer as a head coach. I'm going to go with the upset in the Bank of America Stadium.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, that's definitely a game I have pegged on there. I want to see. It's wild to think that. I mean, to me, it's wild to think that North Carolina is the favorite here. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I love the quarterback. I love the offense that they were able to put up last year, but they lost a good bit. Josh Downs leaving now. He was a big piece of that offense. I think great wide receiver, in my opinion. And they did go and pull Nate McCollum from Georgia Tech. I think he's a pretty good wide receiver. That's one that Georgia kicked the tires on. If Georgia's kicking the tires on, I think he's pretty good. Really speedy guy. But Drake May, is he going to be able to do this kind of, not in a sense by himself, but is he going to be able to carry the load? If you've kept up with transfer portal stuff, we may have mentioned it here before already, but um, the NCAA has rescinded 2 transfers from with their teams just due to the double transfer rule that they've now instated, where you can't transfer twice without, like, I think there's like exceptions. There's just a couple exceptions to it, and one of those guys that doesn't qualify now is their transfer wide receiver Devontae Walker,
Mm-hmm.
who was supposed to be pretty good for them, so he won't be able to play for them now this season. They just found that out a couple weeks ago. So that is going to be a big thing here. Not real huge on their defense as well. They did lose Tony Grimes. He is gone, so that kind of sucks for him. But um, Miles Murphy is there. They did have one guy that I really like too, Travis Shaw. I don't know how much he's going to actually play, but he's been pretty good. At least he was a very highly rated, kid coming out of high school. But outside of that, they're going to have to prove it to me on defense. I do think South Carolina's going to win this one. I'll take them in the upset as well. Them plus the points, that's easy for me, man. I
Yeah,
think I'll
same,
with and
same.
there is a little hesitation here. I was just listening to Josh Pate this morning. Juice Wells still isn't back with the team. I got him in our college football fantasy. Go figure. But he's not yet cleared, so that's a big piece to the puzzle for South Carolina that's not yet in the mix, and we're not that far away from week one. So that part kind of sucks.
Well,
Um,
I want to ask you something before we get to the next game.
Go
Obviously,
ahead.
we were breaking news earlier today about Brandon Robinson, for UGA, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on how much of an impact.
Oh, tell me. Break it for me. I didn't see this yet.
Oh, you didn't see
I
it?
swear.
Oh,
Swear. Tell me.
He's out for the season. He
No.
ruptured. He ruptured his Achilles tendon in a non-contact injury.
Branson Robinson.
Branson Robinson.
No freaking way. I don't get my Bleacher Report stuff anymore, man. I haven't been on my phone really all day.
Wow.
God, man, that really freaking blows. Ruptured his patella tendon in practice. I'm just now. Wow, that does freaking blow. All right, but um, if we're looking into this, then I'm just now finding that out. But if we're looking into this, my thoughts on it, we do have depth there. Is the depth solid enough? I'm a little shaky now, man. As far as our running back depth, Kendall Milton, it's like Anthony Davis. He's
Yeah,
great
he
when he's out
is.
there. He's
Yeah.
great when he's out there, but when are we going to be able to bank on him being out there? Kind of thing. It's always something, man. And he's still coming back from a hamstring injury now, so that's something. Oh man, I hate that he's out for the season though. But Kendall Milton, he'll be back. It's just a matter of how long are we going to get him before the next thing, and then will we be able to get him back again? Outside of that, Dejan Edwards, I like Dejan Edwards.
I remember
Roderick
that.
Robinson, yeah, Dejan Edwards solid from Colquitt County. He's like,
Where Roger Robinson from? Where he's from?
Roger Robinson came from California. He was committed to UCLA. Now he's just a tank. He's just huge, dude. He's just a huge kid, just downhill runner, just Hank, man. That's the best way I can freaking describe him. So, um, he'll get some play this year. We're going to be rotating people in. I mean, it's no surprise now to me why I've been hearing camp reports that Cash Jones, our former walk-on out of Texas, has been getting a lot of run. He's going to be our third down back this year. If you remember those guys growing up when we were watching UGA, those white guy walk-ons we always had,
Yep. Yep.
Prather Hudson and all them boys, getting in the game.
Hudson, that's who
He'll
it
be
was.
he'll be the next one of those. And he's solid. He's a solid guy, and it's great that we can have guys like that as walk-ons. But he was like a 3-star back that came in as a walk-on. He's awesome. So I mean, it'll be cool to see him get in the games more now. I do think he's capable of doing some stuff, especially in the pass game. Um, and then the big key to this dude, and he's coming back. We didn't get to see him last year, but all the hype was on this dude coming in. He was going to be, dude. People were saying because him and Branson came in together last year, they said he was outshining Branson, and Branson was the 5-star guy, and he was a 3-star guy. Andrew Paul, he's a 3-star coming out of Texas last year. We were able to snag him late in the recruiting class. Came down to us in Clemson, and then he tore his ACL right before the season started. But he was
Yeah.
all the rage last year at camp. So he's been coming back. They said he's been looking good. We're going to have to bank on this guy to come in and make some plays. Another couple guys you can name, Savon Clark, another walk-on that we had. I believe he came from Putnam County, if I'm not mistaken. He was actually going to transfer. He entered the transfer portal this off season, but he ended up coming back. He's a great walk-on guy again too. He might get some run now. And then you got a transfer that we got from Tennessee, Lenneth Whitehead, which I don't know if he's really going to get much run. He's a bigger, heavy guy, plotter, but those are the guys we're going to have to work with. So I mean, we'll rotate it out. We were going to be a passing team anyways. I've been saying this for a little while now. We're going to be a pass. You can't not pass the ball with the weapons we got now.
That's
But
true.
man,
That's true.
that really sucks. That really sucks that happened.
Well, see, looking at it now is more the fact that We got our first 4 games is allowing us. That's the only thing I like with our schedule. Is it
We can suss
allows
stuff
us.
out now.
Exactly. We can play around a little bit with this. We can. All right. We want to use the 3-star walk on. All right. If we want to use this guy, we got to transfer from Tennessee or California. Like we can utilize these different backs at different times to open up and see where our offense is headed. All right. So we might have to deal with the same thing we had to deal with last year early on in the season. Man, Georgia don't look good. They only beat whoever we playing. UT Martin by 20 points.
I
Okay.
really don't think it's going to be that case this year. I think we're going to average a lot more points a game. I really do.
I hope so. I really do. I hope so.
I really do. I think that.
I really
But
do.
you could be right. You could be right. I hate that about Branson, man. I hate that. Oh,
Well,
man.
sorry to break the news to you here then, because I thought you saw it.
Yeah, man. Dang it. Yeah, I don't know. Bleacher Report. I got to mess with my phone because I have not been getting Bleacher Report notifications, and I've not been on the forum. I'm sure it's all over the forums now that I read every day, but I have not been able to get on it today. Like it's been one of them days at work. I was just busy, busy, busy. But man, that's crazy. Well, we got a couple more, and I'll let you bring up the granddaddy of them all here in a minute for week
Yeah.
one. I'll cover one more here that I'm going to be interested to see just for this year, seeing these teams. And that's Colorado going against number 17 TCU. TCU's a 21-point
Mm.
favorite. You got Deion Primetime Sanders, and his team, his Louis Vuitton luggage coming with him to TCU.
You
You know,
know that.
seeing them boys now, at the Division One level, going against some legit talent now. That'll be interesting to see for me. I want to see what this Colorado team looks like. I mean, I think we're all in that same boat. We know Dion coming in, bringing his boys with him, the mass exodus out, the mass, coming in of the new players that he got through transfer portal. What does this look like? What does this team look like? How are they going to compete? Can they put up a little bit of a fight against TCU? And more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but another big thing here, what does TCU look like now? The quarterback gone. They have some DBs gone. Their number one wide receiver gone, Quentin Johnston in the league now. So what does this team look like? They were able to add some key transfers, but are they going to be able to make another run like we saw last year? That's what I'm going to be interested to see. But I will take it's at TCU. They have been able to load up on some high caliber players. It's Deion's first year. I'll take TCU to cover the 21.
Um, I would say I'm taking TCU to win the game, but I'm gonna give a little bit more respect to Colorado. I think they actually have a little bit of a close game. I think they shock us a little
I
bit.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet, so I just can't put anything behind it. If I had to bet, I have to bet with it.
Maybe I'm on the train, but I'm gonna trust Dion just a little bit early. But I've already said this once he went there. I said his first year he gonna look booty. It ain't gonna be pretty year
That's
one,
fair
but it's
enough,
not
man.
gonna be his fault. It's not gonna be too much his fault. And the reason
Big
why I
Purple
say this,
lost to Vanderbilt his first season, so
there you
you
go.
know.
Right, he got a rough schedule. I mean, on the road to TCU, on the road to Oregon, USC at home, on the road to UCLA, Oregon State, who's ranked number 18, and then Utah.
Yeah.
You got 3 top 10. Well, take that back. Well, yeah. You got 3 top 25 ranked teams on the road. All right. Utah gonna be
Mm-hmm.
there. USC, I mean Oregon. You playing TCU early, who's the runner up in the national championship. I mean, look, man, this ain't no easy schedule for these boys. So don't come in here with these crazy expectations. Now, look, if Colorado finds a way to get through this season and then find a way to win 8 games, even
Huh?
7, that's plus. I would say he's done more than enough. Because when the last time Colorado been relevant? Exactly. Like
It's
if
been
he's
it's been a
winning
while.
7 or 8 games, that's a win. Like don't go, like you know what made me mad one time because I was a little bit of a Herm Edwards fan for Arizona State, and when
Mm-hmm.
he went to Arizona State, and I think they had one season where they won 8 games, and he had another. Then they fell off a little bit, only won like 6 or 7, and I'm like, for the understanding of what Arizona State has been, that's not bad of a season. Like, give this man some time. Now, he did have one season where I think he only won like 3 or 4 games. That was bad. But
Yeah.
7 to 8 games, there are certain teams that needs to understand where they are, and it takes time. Like, give a guy like Herm or give a guy like Dion, give them more than just 2 or 3 years. Like, let's give these guys 5, 6, 7, 8 years to build what they want to build. Okay, by that time, the things ain't happening right, so be it. But sometimes I'm big about believing in the process. All right, and you got certain things like the SEC, the SEC head coaches. I hate that. I hate that for a lot of the SEC head coaches. They get these guys, they fire them after 2 or 3 seasons. Oh, we're winning. Who gonna beat Alabama and Georgia consistently all the time? Like, you have to be
Yeah,
realistic
you
with
got to give him
yourself.
time.
You gotta
It's
get
like
these
Florida
guys
State
fired.
with Norvell. They had to give him time. They wouldn't be where they're at now if they had just fired him after that. First couple seasons.
Exactly. That's what
So
I'm saying. I don't like that. I've never liked that. Heck, even look at
mhm.
Alabama. They lost to Louisiana Monroe year one. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Arkansas. Like, now look at them. Imagine, like, man,
yeah.
this Nick Saban ain't worth trash. Fire him. Yeah.
You would hope that Colorado, after all these years, getting a guy like him in, they'd give him a little bit of a grace period. I mean, like you said, they are going against, big teams. You named them out: TCU, Oregon, USC, UCLA, Oregon State, like you said, Utah. You could even throw in, I think it's Arizona State where Jaden Rashada went, the kid that was going to go to Florida, but then backed out because the NIL fell through. They said he's been looking pretty good so far, and he actually, might play pretty early there. Nebraska now with Matt Rule, that might be something to actually watch now. And then Arizona sometimes even has some decent teams. They got a star receiver coming back, Cowing. So who knows? It's going to be a pretty tough season, dude. There's going to be a lot of losses. But are they going to give them that time? Like, that's a good point you make.
I'm about to
So
say,
take us to the
they
granddad. Go ahead.
I was like, they go 500 is that's
It's a,
good.
it's a, that's a win.
That's a
That's a
win.
win. If they go 500, that's a win.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say, take us to that main event, the main event of this weekend. What is it, man?
Yes, we already know week one, main event, 7:30 ABC. LSU, ranked number 5, going against number
I'll never
8,
watch it live.
Florida State. What a game that is, man. That's gonna be a really good game. Heck, I'll be landing in Orlando during that time. So ain't Camping World kickoff in Orlando?
That is, man.
That is in
You're gonna be
Orlando.
in the city. Oh,
I
what you
will
gonna
be
be
in
there
the
for?
city. That's why I'm going to be. I'm going to train there with Fusion XL with Rodolfo, Leona Machida, all those guys. Phil Rowe, get some good rounds in there for my training
Pretty
camp.
cool.
But yeah, I'll be there during that time. And
Wow, I have to make it up.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
LSU,
pretty cool.
Florida State, man. That's going to be interesting. Okay, that's going to be really interesting. Going into that game, looking at a lot of the things that's showing up. LSU is a team that a lot of people are heavy on early into this season. Alabama, going into the SEC West, I see a lot of people predicting. I had a few Alabama fans listen to the podcast. Some back at PKP, they did not like your prediction on
I bet they
Alabama.
don't. I bet they didn't.
They did not
I
like
wouldn't
it.
bother them either.
But look, they did say this. They respect it because they don't know. They said we don't know. We do have a lot of questionable things that are happening. They're going into this upcoming season. They did have a lot of questions. You're not so
Yeah,
sure on the quarterback. You're not so sure on the running game. It's more by committee. The wide receivers aren't the craziest things out there like they had in the past. So they are respecting your pick, but they still don't like Alabama losing 3 games in the season.
yeah.
But it is
I mean,
what it is.
honestly, like I said, it could at least be two. I mean, that third one is the kind of toss up for me. That's that Texas one, but I could just hey, I was talking to Jackson Cardell. Me and him did some best ball drafts this weekend. We were talking, and he agrees wholeheartedly with me. He has the same record going down, man. He has it 3 losses. Hmm.
LSU, look, well, we're going to see more of who LSU is, and we're also going to see who Florida State is. As crazy as it sounds, this is a playoff implication game in week one.
Yeah,
Whoever wins this game is obviously going to have a really good head going forward. If you had to say a team that needs to win the most, I would say the team that needs to win the most would be Florida State. Reason why I say that, LSU has a lot more games like this that they can capitalize on.
they can make
Where
up.
Florida
Yeah,
they can make up, where Florida State do not. They have Clemson on the road, which is a big game. That is a big game. You go
that'll
on
be
the
tough
road,
too.
and that is going to be tough. You go on the road and beat Clemson. But after
Yes, sir.
that, Florida State, as of right now, they don't play another ranked team. They got Virginia Tech at home, Syracuse at home, Duke at home, Wake Forest on the road, Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, then Florida. Like Florida State after this game, so they play this game. 2 weeks, and then they play Clemson. You don't
That's
have
true.
nothing else. There's literally nothing else. There's literally nothing else after that
That's
that's
about
really
it.
just going to help open up your schedule. So them beating LSU, in my opinion, is a must for Florida State. So if you ever want to look forward to like playoff implications and thinking about the big part of the season, towards the end of the season, this is that type of game for them, man. But I do believe in LSU a little bit. I think they're going to start slow a little bit, but we're going to see what more. We're going to see a lot with this quarterback. Yeah, give me LSU and take the points.
Yeah, what is the spread on this one? I didn't look at that yet.
LSU minus 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, I'll take them to cover that. And I'll take them to win this game. Um, yeah, I agree with you, man. I like LSU. It's no secret. We said that on the show last time, when we did the SEC preview show. Um, I love them. I like a lot of people. That's like the off-season darling. I feel like this year is LSU. Florida State, like, hey, you make a great point. I will say this though, just because if they do lose that game, I think that if they go, I mean, obviously if they go and win it out, win the ACC, obviously I still think they have a really good chance at making the playoff. They probably do in that case. But like you said, LSU can make it up. That is LSU, man. They got a lot of big games, and that's just to kick it off. I like them here. Florida State, still want to see some stuff from them, but there's a lot of continuity there with LSU. Um, and there's just a lot to like defensively and offensively, and that's why I'm going to go with them. And I heard their offensive line is looking pretty good. Who was it? There was a one team that he was talking about today that oh yeah, Oregon. Yeah, Josh Pate today on Oregon. He was saying that a lot of people were doubting them coming into this year because of the
Who
offensive line.
next?
Like they lost like four offensive linemen. But he said, man, they love the offensive line right now. The offensive linemen are kicking butt. So if they get Oregon's gonna make a deep run, it looks like. They might be up there challenging USC this year for Pac-12 champs, and they could make a college football playoff run. So
They
it'd
were
be
close
interesting.
last year. I mean, if Oregon handled business against Washington, we would have saw Oregon in the playoffs. As much as people hated that to happen. Oregon over Alabama and Tennessee. But yeah, if Oregon would have won out, they would have made the playoffs. I didn't care what nobody
Yeah,
said. That was going to happen. But
yeah. It was. I remember talking about that. You're right.
they stuck it up against Washington. That game happened. But Bo Nix got hurt in that game. So but hey, got a chance this year. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, I think we covered everything we set out to cover. I know you probably got some stuff going on with Fight Week, correct?
Got
Just
to do
so late, we're
training.
running a little over. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, thank you for tuning into the live stream. If you're out there, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're listening that way, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can find podcasts. Really, if you want to support the show, go to the description, click the link tree, and you can help us out in a multitude of different ways. So, thank you guys for listening, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.